Welcome into your tiny week ahead reading. I am T coming in to pull cards and tell you all about the week ahead. So, we have three different piles. Go ahead and pick the pile you are drawn to. On top of each pile is a quote from the new deck that I have. So, pick a pile or piles, and I will see you in your reading. Welcome in pile one to your week ahead reading. Let's get into the energy of your week. So, starting with your first card, illuminate I could, and so illuminate I did. Part of that gives me that the energy this week is about finding your shine, finding your joy, finding your happiness, finding your light again. So, let's get into some more of the energies for your week. The cards we're using for this are the Healing Stones deck. The crystal you have is amber, creativity, warmth. Reconnect with your inner child. Amber will help you to achieve childish candor, happiness, and joy of life. I think she might mean life, but so in terms of the energy, like I said with the first card, I feel like you may be trying to find joy this week. It may be a time where you may be in a little bit of darkness, or you may have been in a little bit of darkness. You may not be able to find the light in life. There may be a lot going on, or you may just not be in a necessarily happy space. You may be in more of a emotional space, or maybe um, a depressive space, or a space of grieving. And so this week is about you reconnecting with the light. And part of how you can do that is to do things that make you happy, that relate to your inner child, that relate to things that are inherently like things that make you feel comforted, things that make you take you back to a time where you had like no worries or no cares. It's reminding me, there's this song by Duran Bernard that's called Vacancy. And the chorus is there vacancy in a child's place? um, Basically the song is about like wanting to go back to being a child because you got too many bills to pay and too many responsibilities, and like Sally Mae won't let you go outside to play. You know what I mean? Like that. That's like the basis of the song, some of the lyrics of the song. So that's kind of what I'm feeling. It feels like the energy this week is about reconnecting with the things that make you happy, with the things that make you laugh, with the things that make you smile, because you're out of alignment with that. So let's pull a few more cards to see a little bit more about the energy for your week. Okay. Smoky quartz, nerve strength, resilience, everything becoming too much for you to handle. Smoky quartz is the anti-stress stone. It lets you fulfill your duties in a relaxed and strengthened way. So yeah, I was just asking in my head if I was right about where people are, or if some people are actually like in a happy, joyful place already. And because I got the smoky quartz, I just it just validates what I was saying before about people having too much on their plate, people being stressed, people being overworked in a sense, people feeling like you're being pulled in many directions, or you're just really emotional and you're feeling overwhelmed, or there's things working on your nervous system, and there may be things that work on your nervous system this week if you're not already kind of feeling like this. And maybe, or you may be feeling, it feels like people may be already feeling like this, but it may be enhanced. So like the energy of this week is about disconnecting in the ways that you can, and reconnecting to the things that will balance you and make you feel less stressed and allow you to feel a little bit more relaxed, and um, be able to handle a little bit more. We then have sapphire and peridot. So, sapphire, spirituality, wisdom. You are stuck. Sapphire brings you closer to wisdom and allays your thirst for profound spiritual experiences. Its gift, you realize that you are always in the right place at the right time. So, part of this to me is part of the stress, part of the overwhelm, part of what you can do about that is just letting go, and allowing yourself the grace to handle the shit that you can handle, and to let go of the shit that you can't, right? And the shit that you can't, we come to this peridot. Tolerance, allow mistakes. You're allowed to make mistakes. With peridot, you forgive yourself, gain self-worth, and become more open-minded towards others. The stone allows you to be authentic. So excuse me, again, oh, excuse me. um, if we're allowing the capacity to flow and we're doing things that we can do in the ways that we can do them, and we're, allowing things to drop in a sense when we can't, we are also allowing grace for that and allowing ourselves to be okay with not doing all of the fucking things that have been on our plate, because doing all the things that have been on your plate or doing it in the ways that you've been doing them have led you to be fucking stressed and out of alignment and not living in your happy, you know, carefree space, right? Your most illuminated, shining place. You're not shining the way that you think you are, right? Doing too much has actually left you dull and overworked and getting hard. So, this is some of the energy I have for your week, pile one. Let's get into some specific things that may happen this week. So, to get into the specific things that may happen this week, we're going to use the sign of the times oracle. Got a lot of shit going on. Okay. So let me move this out the way. Opportunity, reflection, chance, ancestry, possibility, and patience. Okay, so things that may happen this week, right? Let's start with the reflection. We definitely have some things that we need to sit with this week. We're already sitting with emotions that are coming up, feelings that are coming up. And I feel like that's where this reflection is. And part of why we need to deal with this is so that we can get back to the party, right? Like reflection card is a mirror, but it's a mirror of a disco ball, right? So there's ways in which we need to look into ourselves. We need to sit with ourselves and um, deal with the things that are coming up at this time so that we can get back to a place of illumination, so that we can look at ourselves in the mirror and feel comfortable again, or feel like you're looking at somebody you recognize, right? Or somebody you want to see is kind of the energy. Okay. Within that, we have the ancestry card, the tree. And so part of what we may be moving through, or part of what may be coming up, may have to do with our family lines, may have to do with familial things that we're going through, generational things that we're realizing, generational curses, if that's something that you're currently working on, or generational traumas, um, generational cycles, because they're not always seen as curses depending on your perspective or what your practice is. And so I feel like for some people, part of what we're reflecting on is what comes up in you, but what's a reflection of where you come from, or the people that you come from, or the things that are inherent to y'all that you are trying to move through and or work on or work with or learn about, right? That this may have something to do with the reflections. Also, because this is coming up this week, you may just have family things that come up this week. So this week may be something that has to do with actual family things where you're reuniting with family members, or you're whether that's in person or virtually. You may be in a place of wanting to connect with your ancestors, or go back to ancestral practices if that's something that you were already doing but you haven't been doing. There may be people who want to start looking into their ancestry, or starting to do some kind of ancestral veneration, or like people that may be looking through pictures or something like that this week. So like that is a thing that comes up for me. But like I said, a part of that for me is definitely with the mirror and the reflection. Other things that may come up this week. So we have the key with the chance card under that. So I think that there may be opportunities for you to start something this week, especially because even though this is a door key, but it's like we're going into a car, so it's like there's opportunities for you to start something that gets you moving, or that gets moving this week. It feels like the chance and the opportunity have to do with taking a chance on whatever the opportunity is. So it may be different than something that you normally do, or it may not be something that you're super comfortable with. It if it's definitely okay. Yes, if you get a chance to do something this week that you are not necessarily comfortable with, or something that you would normally say no to, definitely lean more towards yes if you are able to, because we're trying to get you out of your comfort zone. We're trying to get you like to see yourself in a different light, and this is part of being able to do that. um there's something about having more opportunities to see the world, and then we have the possibilities card and a globe on the possibilities card. So there's something about the opportunities that may come up to you this week, and being able to take a chance on that. They may help you be able to travel or to be able to see the world. If it has to do with, it may, excuse me, it may have to do with looking for a new job, um, in spaces where you don't normally look, or like looking for international work or work outside of your state, or it doesn't necessarily feel like virtual. It feels like we're trying to get you back into spaces, into places, into the world. But it's a different world. It's a different perspective. It's like more global. It's more worldly. And for some people, more worldly just means going to places with people that don't necessarily look like you, or people that don't necessarily just act like you, or people you haven't really been around, people that may have accents or whatever. America's big, you know what I mean? So you can go to a different state and feel like you're in a whole different ass country. So um, there may be a possibility to do that this week, or you may be itching to travel and looking into making travel plans. Um, and it definitely for some people is work based. Like it's definitely has to do with what you do or what you want to do. So think about that this week, that these are some of the things that may come up. The last card we have for this week is yield, patience. And what I really love about this card is that there's a big ass tree, right? So yes, it says yield, and yield means to slow down, but some people at yield signs, like, we do a slow roll. We don't really like stop. You're just like, and then you keep going. Some people don't even really stop that much. But the yield in this is like stopping because you can't see what's behind this tree, right? And if you're going too fast, or if you're moving too fast, you could crash, and or you could lose something or miss something, you know what I mean? And I don't mean figured, I mean, excuse me, I mean figuratively, not literally. But then, because I said I don't mean, just be careful in cars, okay? I don't know. Anyway, yield at yield signs, okay? Anyway, like I was saying, the tree doesn't allow you to see things, and that's part of what she talks about in the book with this card. And so um part of this for me has to do with, like, if you are going to take a chance, right? Or if you're in a position to be able to have an opportunity, it may not pan out like just that fast. So don't sit in anxiety or fear about the decision that you just made, because on the other side of it, we're assuming, right? We should be assuming, we should be knowing that it's gonna be good. You know what I mean? There's some good shit on the other side of this tree, but be mindful that it's not just gonna happen. The things may not just happen this week, that you may have to have a little bit of patience. This also is very specifically for people in terms of people responding to you. There may be some people that, like, you're talking to somebody and they don't respond to you right away, and then you have like a visceral reaction to that. Like, slow down, okay? Just give them a second. Give them one of my favorite astrologers, Jessica Lanyadoo, says if you have the ability to take 72 hours before you respond to something, that might be a little long. Take 48 hours, but like, take time. 15 minutes is not time. An hour is not a super long time if you have the time and it's not timely. Okay. So these are the things that I think will specifically come up this week. Let's get into your self care for the week. Okay, so we are using the self care oracle. Let's get the best self care for pile one for this week. Build strength. Flow like water. Okay. So, like we already talked about, part of what this week is about is moving you back into your light, moving you into your stronger, brighter self. And so, building strength makes sense to me. Part of what we talked about in this month's reading, if you haven't already listened to it, is building strength in your health to build strength in your emotional body, to build strength in your mental body. So I feel like that is part of what's coming up this week. You also have the light behind this person, right? So, and the third eye activated. So again, it's like all of the parts of your body are wellness, right? Your internal, your external, your physical, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual body, all of those encompass your well being, right? And so building your strength, whether it's in physical strength and doing strength work, building your cardio, building your flexibility, building your endurance, whether it's mental work, right? You start to maybe read more or you start to do brain games. If it's emotional work where you're starting to like work with tools that allow you to answer certain questions, you're starting to journal, you're starting to use therapeutic tools, or you're reaching out to a therapist and actually, you know, having real conversations with your therapist if you're already having therapy. Like these are things that can help build your strength and build your wellness, right? And so I feel like part of what is necessary for you this week in terms of your self-care are these things that I just mentioned, or are things that align with you building yourself up in the different ways that are wellness, you know. The other thing we have is flow like water, and we already kind of talked about this within the things that you have going on this week, within the emotions that come up, within the opportunities that may come up, within the thoughts that you have. Um, we are just being directed to move through them in the lightest way possible. Don't hold on to anything, right? Just flow, just look, just watch, just listen, just be curious, just seek, you know, just talk it out, cry it out, just move through whatever that means, you know. Because you have flow like water, I would also say that it's important for you to cry if you need to cry this week and you're in a safe space to do so. I think it's important for you to cleanse this week, or to take baths this week, or long showers, and to be intentional about your baths and your showers and the um, scents that you're using or the sounds that you use and utilize in there. So these are the things that I'm getting for the best self-care for your week. Definitely let me know what you think about this reading, y'all. And I'm like sending you hugs this week. I just feel like I need to, I'm like wrapping my arms around y'all a little bit. But like I said, let me know what you think about this reading. If you would like your own reading, definitely book with me. I have the personal 75-minute reading. We also have the eclipse season reading right now. That's 22/22. And if you have another pile, I will see you there. If not, thank you so much for reading with me. Also, if you haven't, listen to our September monthly reading and our September fairy tale reading that are both out on Substack, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Welcome in pile two to your week ahead reading. Let's get into your energy of the week. So, starting off with your first card. The rooms leading off from the hall buzz with language. Starting with this card, I feel like the energy of your week, you may have a lot going on in your head. There may be a lot of different thoughts or a lot of different ideas or a lot of different chatter going on that you're trying to like sort through or move through. Let's get into your next card. Amethyst. Dreams, losses, sorrow. Your thoughts are constantly moving in circles. Amethyst helps you to let go. Your intuition connects to reality and creates mental clarity. So, right. I forgot that that's what the card said, but they would always go together, right? That's just how the cards work. So, I think that you definitely just have a lot of thoughts going on in your head. It may be about things that you don't have, you no longer have, things that you're grieving, things that you thought that you should have. The dreams, I don't know, some people may be specifically having weird dreams or bad dreams or dreams that are jarring to you when you wake up, that are like causing you confusion or like discontent, you know what I mean? So that may be some of the energy that comes into this week. Let's get into more of what this week may be given, or why your thoughts may be all over the place. I really wants to come. Dormitory. Composure, new paths. Every now and then, you lose your ease in everyday life. Dormitory conveys to you a lighthearted and lively attitude of life. It gives you confidence to follow your own way. Okay. So part of what people may be thinking about is what you're going to do, where you're going, what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. If you lost something and now you're forced into a new path, that makes a lot of sense. If you are scared of losing again or what may happen, if you have the, if you choose to do something new or change something in your life, or you're not having the confidence to do that, that may be part of the energy that's coming up this week, or part of where your thoughts are and like where the mental confusion comes up. Your life needs new drive. Aquamarine. Aquamarine gives you buoyancy and ease paired with depth. Okay. So, yeah, it feels like you're wanting new. You want different. You want more in life, but you're maybe too scared to get it or to have it or to go for it or to try. And that all of these feelings or thoughts are kind of convergent on you this week. And I don't know if that's because something specifically happens. We'll get into the specifics with the other cards in the next part of the reading, but um, it's definitely very, very clear that like part of where your thoughts are is on where are we going? Where are we going? Or why is life like this? How can we make life different or better? You know? Turquoise, self responsibility. With turquoise, you realize that the outcomes of your actions are within your responsibility. Word, you forge your own destiny. That includes saying no sometimes. So, again, there are parts of your life, or your life in general, that you want to change, right? That needs newness, that needs an infusion, that needs different. It's similar to pile one. If you were drawn to pile one, maybe go watch that one. But the these aspects are whatever you're thinking about, or excuse me, these aspects are whatever you want, or it's like part of what is clouding your brain, part of what's adding to this buzzing of the language in the halls. It's adding to the chatter in your head. It's adding to and the chatter, some of it is adding to your lack of confidence in actually having this or letting go or moving to this new space. And a lot of these things are coming up this week, right? But then your last card says that you realize that the outcome of your actions are within your responsibility. If you want better, if you want more, you can have it, but you have to believe it. You have to convince yourself that you can do it. You have to know what the fuck you want. You know what I mean? You have to be able to say no to the things that are keeping you out of what and where you want. So like this is what's coming up for you this week in terms of energy. Let's get into some more specific things that may come up this week. Okay, so to get some of the more specific things that may come up this week, we're using the Sign of the Times Oracle. Chance comes out again. Okay. So some of the specific things that may happen this week are you have a chance to start a new journey. Like, hello. Okay, just doubling, tripling down, quadrupling down. Okay, destiny. So yeah, specific things that are happening this week. There's opportunities to change your life, to change your destiny, to make your mark, to start something new, to like. This also feels like to get out of certain spaces that you know aren't the places that you want to be, right? It's like there's a way in which you've been in a maze, but you can get out. You can get out of the maze. Also, um, there are like new puzzles for you to explore, new things that you're supposed to do, and you're ready to do them. Like you're itching for more, and it doesn't just feel like more in terms of abundance, but it feels like more in terms of like um what am I trying to say? Like more of a challenge, you know? Like more yeah, like more of a challenge kind of is what it feels like. Um Specifically, like I said, in terms of the journey, I feel like you'll be pushed to really look at where you are and the ways in which you've either allowed yourself to be there or get stuck there or to stay there and or to not dream big enough for yourself or to look for more, things like that, and the ways you want to change that and get out of the rat race of what your life has been and take more chances on yourself and, um, you know, find more exhilaration, more excitement, more, yeah. Oh. And then we have harmony and peace. Um, so I think that also, the week is not all about just thoughts and what what's going to happen and what you're moving through, but also like there can be some peace in thinking about what you've already done and accomplished. There can be some peace in recognizing that you want more and just sitting in that dream without having to think about how it happens, right? um Oh, I just realized that's paint. There, you may specifically want to like paint this week if you are somebody that paints. It's easy to get canvases and paint from like Five Below or the dollar store or something like that. That art, it's also like art, so it could be coloring or markers or like coloring on the iPad. I used to color on my iPad. Um, or like something artsy, arts and craftsy. But again, this is like something that gets you out of your head. It brings you into peace. It may bring you ideas or like aha moments that when you go back out of this space and into life will like allow you to um, move through some of the things that we just talked about. So those are some of the specific things I'm getting for what may come up this week. It's a lot of what we talked about in the first part of this reading. I'm just going to see if there's anything else. Motivation, never give up. I love that. I really love that. Okay, so this is what I got for you, pile 2 for this week. Let's get into some of your self-care for this week. All right, pile 2. So ending your reading with your self-care for this week. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna keep shuffling. I was gonna pull, and then I just felt like, nope, keep going. And we got it anyway. All right. Well, y'all just wanted to do a trick. That's cute, Spirit. I loved it. I hope everybody else did. Okay. Clap for Spirit, y'all. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just Spirit. I'm just kidding. Please don't harm me. Okay. Just kidding, y'all. Just kidding. There was another card that was about to pop out, but I missed it because I was talking shit. All right. So pile 2, self care. Okay. We have first sweet treat. And then we have use your hands. So what I love about both of these is that it's about using your hands and getting you what out of your head. Okay, because shit is real mercurial for you this week. It's a lot about processing and thought and planning and thinking and things. And so the self-care for you is to move out of your head and into your body, right? These are grounding exercises. So starting with a sweet treat, if you have the ability to bake something, to make something, and it doesn't necessarily have to be sweet, but it has to be something that's like comforting, that makes you feel like, this is like one of my favorite things. This is something that just like lights up like a fire under my ass or some shit. You know what I mean? Like it's like, I guess lighting a fire under your ass is exactly where we were going with it, but something that just makes you feel good, right? Something that feels good, that tastes good, that you really really enjoy. And if you're able to make it, even better, because like I said, again, it takes you out of your head and into your heart space, right? It takes you into a different, for some people, a different part of your head, right? From the was it left brain to the right brain, right? And so that's part of why you got sweet treat for this week. It's about the enjoyment of it, it's about the comfort, but it's also about getting out of your head. That's also why you have use your hands, because using your hands is getting out of your head. So it would be doing something that doesn't require you to have a lot of thinking. Okay, we're not like fucking using an abacus and counting, and like this is not what you're using your hands for. Okay, we're using our hands to like mold something, or we're using our hands to, like I said before, draw something or create something, or just something that gets you out of your head in a sense, right? That gets you in a different space. Maybe you're playing the piano with your hands and your fingers. Maybe you're knitting. Maybe you're I don't know, making candles or some shit. Maybe you're doing pottery, but it's like something where you're using your hands and you're in your body and you're out of your head. Okay. These are the best exercises for you this week because, like I said, it grounds you. And a lot of what you need outside of what you're moving through is to ground you back in so that you can get clarity, so that you know what to do, so that you know where you're going and you don't have to sit and fret on it as much as you may be or you have been. Okay. So that is what we have for pile two. Definitely let me know what you think about your reading. Let me know how your week is going. If you would like your own reading, definitely book with me. We have our eclipse reading up until mid October for eclipse season. We have my 75-minute personal reading. There's also our September monthly collective reading on Substack, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, as well as our September fairy tale reading that came out a few days ago. So check that out. If you have another pile, I will see you there. And if not, thank y'all so much for reading with me. I will see you next reading. Welcome in pile three. Let's get into your energy for this week. So, starting off with your first card. The spirit walks in through the door of the flesh's house. So, with the first card, I feel like part of the energy of your week is about spirit. It's about celestial connection. It's about spiritual um, invocation and veneration and spiritual working and your connection with spirit within your everyday. So, let's get into some more of the energy of your week. We then have dolomite, grounding, endurance. Do you get lost every now and then? Dolomite helps you to be authentic. The stone provides a basic sense of trust, stability, and endurance. Your actions become playful. So, part of the energy of this week may be about you feeling a sense of instability, or you maybe not feeling connected to yourself or connected to your higher self or connected to those that like walk with you, or you needing to connect with your spiritual team or your guidance because you're feeling disconnected, or like you don't know where you're going, or um, like you can't trust yourself, or like you can't trust others, or you're feeling unprotected. So this may be some of the energy that comes up with this week. And I think that's why you have the first card that you have, where there's an integration of spirit and yourself, and the knowing that you work together, or that you are always covered, or that you need to like rebuild, or connect with or strengthen that connection. So let's get some more cards for some more of the energy of your week. Okay. Oop, 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 oop. Lapis lazuli, truthfulness, presence. It takes courage to be honest. Lapis strengthens your self awareness so that you openly express your truth. It lets you be present and go through life with dignity. Okay. So whatever's going on, you definitely need to be holding your head high, because it's just what it is. Okay. It's just information. And the more that you sit with it, and the more that you can own whatever is happening in a way where it's not taking guilt or taking on um, like heavy emotion, is part of the energy of this week. Like we need to just recognize where we are, or what a situation is, or how we're feeling, and just sit with it. The next thing we have is labradorite, realism. So again, with the authenticity and the truthfulness of seeing things for like black and white kind of thing. Where do you delude yourself? Okay. I didn't even see that was the question. Okay. Labradorite, the slayer of illusions, lets you see what is real. After the pain, knowledge and greatness of mind arise. Okay. So for some people, there may be specific situations that come through, or that happened this week, where you find out somebody was being dishonest, or you sit with how you truly feel about something, and it's the opposite of how you've been acting like you feel about something, or moving like you felt about something, or you wanted to deal with something when you really didn't want to deal with it that way, or move in the way that you've been moving, and it's not authentic to yourself. And part of it was because maybe you didn't trust yourself, or maybe you didn't feel like you could do it alone or something like that, or you were just in a space where you weren't grounded into yourself enough to say no to whatever was being asked of you, or to recognize what you were feeling or what you were actually thinking. Okay. And that like these things will come up this week, or these things will come to pass. Some of this may be situations with other people, but some of this may be like you recognizing, like I said, where you just haven't been authentic with yourself. So it comes up with your interactions with other people, but it's more about how you have responded, or how you have been moving, or how you move this week, or how you respond this week, and how you recognize that that's not really authentic or true to what you feel or what you think or what you want to do. Okay. And that part of what the energy of this week is pushing you towards is to stop doing that and to sit in whatever you actually feel, good, bad, or indifferent. Okay. Let's pull maybe a few more cards, see if there's anything else. We also have mediumship with this. So if you're somebody who's been scared of your gifts or getting into your gifts, that might also be part of the energy that comes up this week. Oh, something just fell. We then have Amber. Reconnect with your inner child. Amber helps you to achieve childish candor, happiness, and joy of life, which I think she means life. We also got this card in pile one. So another thing that's coming up this week in terms of the energy of your week is that things may be a little bit heavy for you this week, right? And so that there's a need to like reconnect with your inner child. And it feels like this, to me, more than pile one, feels like going into your fort and like your safe place, or like wrapping yourself up in a blanket and like watching movies, or like something like that, in terms of inner child, things that made you feel safe, things that made you feel warm, similar to pile one where it's like comfort. But to me, it's less about like play and more about the nurture and the comfort aspect of it, the warmth of it, the safety, because you have the dolomite, and these part of what you're moving through has to do with root chakra base energies, right? With like foundational security and protection and stability and trust and safety and things like that. So I feel like this is the energy that comes up for you this week. Let's get into some more specific things that may happen. Okay. So, to get into some more specific things that may happen for you this week, we are using the Sign of the Times Oracle. Caution. Metamorphosis. Okay. Okay. Now, I asked for specific things that may happen to you this week, but this is more so of a specific message, right? There are ways in which you could be blocking yourself from blessings. Okay, so wait, let me back up. Okay, rewind. We have the traffic cone, caution. Okay, we have metamorphosis, the butterfly. We have abundance with the cowrie shells. And then we have endings with the skull. Okay, so the message that I was just given is that there are some people that could be blocking their blessings because you refuse to make certain changes in your life. You refuse to change certain habits. You refuse to move in certain ways. You refuse to move out of certain situations. You refuse to do things differently than you've been doing them. And this is a hindrance to you. It's been a hindrance to you. And like, it's like it feels like there are people that are like dangling in the cocoon and just waiting to come out, but like you can't come out because you're blocking yourself from what you're meant to have or what you're meant to be. And part of how you're blocking it is because you're not heeding the warnings, especially that spirit has been giving you, or the spiritual intuitions that you've been getting, or like the messages that you've been getting. You haven't been moving on, you haven't been following, you haven't been doing. You're not um like I said, in terms of endings, you're there's things you're holding on to that you shouldn't be holding on to. In some cases, people have too many fucking possessions, and that's just blocking you from the blessings. And even if you're doing work, it's that can't come in because there's too much shit around you. It's too much clutter, there's too much other energy. You may have too much energy on you. But it's like we're wasting time, right? And I know that, again, that's not what I asked. I asked for specific things that would happen this week, right? Specifically this week, you need to pay the fuck attention to what they're telling you. You need to pay attention to the intuitions you're getting, to the gut feelings you're getting. You need to start moving on the things that you know that you need to move on to change yourself, to make your life better, because you can, because it's available to you, because it's been waiting. Okay. I'm gonna ask again and see if there's any more specific things that might happen this week. But like, they was like, message. Okay. All right. Ooh. Yeah. Yep. All right. So this says divine guidance. Okay. Yeah. And we are going to leave it the fuck right there. Listen to what you're being told this week. Open up your listening ears, your listening eye, your third eyes, your everything's, your pineal glands decalcify. Okay. Listen to some 852 hertz. Listen to some 963 hertz. Um, yes. Tap in sound bowls, divination tools, however you listen to spirit music, whatever you do to tap in, is happening this week. This is it. You also, again, I'm gonna just remind you, mediumship. Okay, use your crystals. If you have crystals, use your crystals. Okay, let's get into the best self-care for you this week, besides the things that I already just talked about. Okay, so let's get into the best self-care for your week. We are using the self-care oracle. Again, don't forget the stuff that we already talked about. We have movement. Is there anything else besides what we talked about? And abundance planning. Word. Okay. So starting with movement, right? In terms of self-care and movement, blah 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 blah. Okay, I'm sorry. In terms of self-care and movement can be a lot of things. Movement can be yoga, it can be dancing, it could be just moving your body around and flailing your limbs. It could be different forms of dance. It could be qigong, it could be so many different things, but like, it is an action, right? So you have to do it, you got to move it, or you'll lose it. So this week is definitely about moving so that you can get grounded. It's about moving so you can shake shit off. It's about moving so that you can like almost move yourself into a different headspace, but also like a different dimension. The music, the movement, it all like takes you to a different space. That's why we have like the stars within her body, and it brings your body back into alignment. It brings your energy field up. It enhances your vibration, and you'll definitely see a difference if you add and incorporate movement into your week this week. We then have abundance planning. Okay. So, again, like I said to you, that message was so clear, right? And you have them doubling down with abundance planning, that you can have the things that you want, you can do the things you want. Some of the things on this list: living expenses, education, business, self development, saving, travel, um, free. I don't know what was free, but anything can be free. They might want shit for free. Okay. You can have it. Maybe. Listen, put it down. Keep track of your finances. Don't shop when you're hungry. And it's just like, abundance planning is not only planning and dreaming and like writing down the things that you want to have in the future and the goals that you have, or the things that you want to manifest, but it's also taking the things that you have now and being able to plan them out, right? So like, financially planning, writing down your bills, um making an actual grocery list, having a savings plan, having goals for savings. But within that, also dreaming of where you want to travel to, putting that shit down on your list. If you want to have things where you add in self development, looking into them, seeing how much those things might cost, seeing how you can add them in to your monthly expenses, or what you might have to do to make a little bit more, like whatever you can do that make that happen. If you want to have a side hustle, like this is part of the abundance planning. It's looking at what you actually have and working with that, but also adding in the things that you want to manifest. Okay. And part of that is coming in this week, because like we said, there's ways in which you're blocking yourself. So we have to sit down and figure out, how am I blocking myself financially from the things that I actually want, and what can I do to um, incorporate more of the spiritual manifestation, calling in aspect of the things that I want this week as well. So this is what I'm getting for you for your self-care for this week. Definitely let me know what you think about this reading. Let me know how the week is treating you. If you'd like your own reading, we have our eclipse reading that is available right now until mid-October. I have the 75-minute live reading. We have our September collective reading on Substack, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and the September fairy tale reading just came out as well. So definitely check those out. Thank y'all so much for reading with me. If you have another pile, I will see you there. And if not, I will see y'all in the next reading.